rose the pinnacles of the highest tents, and the standards of the imperial army, and smoke. As they galloped on, they saw that those fallen in the last battle had nearly all been taken away and buried. There were just a few limbs, fingers in particular, scattered over the stubble. "Every now and again I see a finger pointing our way," said my Uncle Medardo. "What does that mean?" "May God forgive them. But the living chop off the fingers of the dead to get at their rings." "Who goes there?" said a sentinel in a cloak covered with mould and moss, like a tree bark exposed to the north wind. "Hurrah for the holy imperial crown!" cried Kurt. "And down with the Sultan," replied the sentinel. "Please, though, when you get to headquarters, do ask him to send along my relief, because I'm starting to grow roots." The horses were now at a gallop to escape the clouds of flies surrounding the camp and buzzing over heaps of excrement. "Many's the brave man," observed Kurt, "whose dung is still on the ground when he's already in heaven." And he crossed himself. At the entrance they rode past a series of canopies, beneath which thick-set women with long brocade gowns and bare breasts greeted them with yells and coarse laughter. "The pavilions of the courtesans," said Kurt. "No other army has such fine women." My uncle was riding with his head turned back to look at them. "Careful, signore," added the squire. "They're so foul and pox-ridden, even the Turks wouldn't want them as booty. They're not only covered with lice, bugs, and ticks, but even scorpions and lizards make their nests on them now." They passed by the field batteries. At night the artillerymen cooked their ration of turnips and water on the bronze parts of swivel guns and cannons, burning hot from the day's firing. Carts were arriving, full of earth, which the artillerymen were passing through sieves. "Gunpowder is scarce now," explained Kurt, "but the soil of the battlefields is so saturated with it that a few charges can be retrieved there." Next came the cavalry stables, where amid flies the veterinarians were at work patching up hides with stitches, belts, and plasters of boiling tar, while horses and doctors neighed and stamped. The long stretches of infantry encampments followed. It was dusk, and in front of every tent soldiers were sitting with bare feet in tubs of warm water. As they were used to sudden alarms night and day, they kept helmet on head and pike tight in fist, even at footbath time. Inside taller tents, draped like kiosks, officers could be seen powdering armpits and waving lice fans. "That's not from effeminacy," said Kurt. "Just the opposite. They want to show how they're at ease in the rigors of military life." The Viscount of Terralba was immediately introduced into the presence of the Emperor. In his pavilion, amid tapestries and trophies, the sovereign was studying future battle plans. Tables were covered with unrolled maps, and the Emperor was busy sticking pins in them, taking these from a small pin-cushion proffered by one of the marshals. By then the maps were so covered with pins that it was impossible to understand a thing, and to read them, pins had to be taken out and then put back. With all this pinning and unpinning, the Emperor and his marshals, to keep their hands free, all had pins between their lips and could only talk in grunts. At the sight of the youth bowing before him, the sovereign let out a questioning grunt, and then took the pins out of his mouth. "A knight just arrived from Italy, Your Majesty," they introduced him. "The Viscount of Terralba, from one of the noblest families of Genoa." "Let him be made lieutenant at once." My uncle clicked spurs to attention, while the Emperor gave a regal sweep of the arm, and all the maps folded in on themselves and rolled away. Though tired, Medardo went to sleep late that night. He walked up and down near his tent and heard calls of sentries, neighs of horses, and broken speech from soldiers in sleep. He gazed up at the stars of Bohemia, thought of his new rank, of the battle next day, of his distant home, and of the rustling reeds in its brooks. He felt no nostalgia or doubt or apprehension. Things were still indisputably whole, as he was himself. Could he have foreseen the dreadful fate awaiting him? He might have even found it quite natural.